Well, welcome back. Just want to do another video on why this less is more act is really important. Let me just talk about old parole, and you'll soon find out why this bill was so important. See, when a person gets out, they get a set of stipulations that they get. Now, most of the stipulations on there are not even laws that we have, and any little mistake anybody ever has, whether it's late curfew or they succumb to the disease of addiction, was their remedy to that was just sending people away for years. Sometimes I've seen sentences go all the way up to 36 months for a parole violation. And when you ask them what they did, they say, "Oh, I had a dirty urine and a late curfew," and that ultimately it's costed over $800 million for them to do that. And it wasn't fixing or making communities safer. It wasn't making it any easier. And ultimately, docs actually took advantage of their authority too much. And what happened was a parole officer could just accuse somebody of breaking a stipulation, and the person would go in front of a very biased court that was closed to the public, that nobody could observe or see or report on, and then they would hand out these large sentences for these very, very petty stipulation violations. Now, I'm not saying people shouldn't be accountable for breaking their curfew or maybe getting a dirty urine, but to the extent Docs was doing it was ridiculous. You cannot even... I cannot even think of why you'd want to give somebody 12 to 18 months for things like that. And that's was a common theme for Docs. And then, on top of all that, we come out here to the same circumstances we just left years before. And our circumstances didn't get any better. They didn't change. They didn't differ. Docs isn't a treatment center. It's not a rehabilitation place. And if people aren't working on themselves 100%, which is almost impossible in that place, they come out and fall very fast. And with an unforgivable system the way it was not doing anybody any favors. And they will tell you, "Oh, well, we're going to save their life," and it's not. They're not saving anybody's life. They're extending people's torment out. Instead of teaching them how to live out here, they were abusing their power and sending them back because of their caseloads. And it's ridiculous too. So this is why I fight for the Less is More Act. It's because in order for somebody to actually get ahead, you actually have to give them a chance to get ahead. And it's not kicking them every time they make a mistake. And in my mind, if they're not breaking the laws or going to break the laws in this country, they shouldn't be penalized. Especially, like, I've had circumstances where I've come to my counselor and said, "Hey, I have a problem because I lapsed." And then it'd get reported at parole. And then I'd get in trouble there. And then threatened and belittled and accused of everything under the sun. And it's like, how is this helping anybody? It really isn't. When I go in front of my counselor and I need to tell her something and I need to try to fix something in my life, it doesn't need to be ran up the chain to a place where I'm going to get penalized. People should be cheering that kind of stuff on. They should be happy that people go to their counselor and ask for help, rather than to catch them and get them into a little room and corner them and make them feel very little. A lot of these people have early traumas in their life. They didn't get to jail by themselves. There's a lot of things that happen wrong in somebody's life in order for them to end up in prison. So that's the kind of thing we should think about, is what led them there and how can we lead them to a better path. that's what the Less is More Act is about. It's about meeting people where they're at, not where we want them to be. Because if we meet them where they're at, we can get them to where they should be in time. Thank you. Have a good night.